Is Social Security really running out of money? It's a question that keeps many Americans up at night, picturing their golden years filled with cat food dinners and bargain bin denture adhesive. Well, I'm here to tell you, it's complicated. Social Security, as you may or may not know, is a program that's been around since the 1930s. It's like America's retirement piggy bank, funded by payroll taxes, and it's designed to provide a safety net for retirees, people with disabilities, and their families. But recently, there's been a lot of chatter, much of it from politicians who look like they moisturize with sadness about Social Security's long-term viability. They're waving around reports, using phrases like entitlement reform, and generally making it seem like the entire system is one bad hip replacement away from bankruptcy. And look, I'm not saying we should ignore the issue, but maybe, just maybe, we should try to understand it first before we start throwing grandma's rocking chair on the financial bonfire.
So how does Social Security actually work? Well, imagine a giant swimming pool filled with cash. Okay, maybe not a pool, because knowing America, someone would try to put chlorine in it. Let's say it's a very large, very secure vault. Every paycheck, a portion of your hard-earned money goes into this vault labeled Social Security Trust Funds. This money doesn't just sit there, though. It's invested in special government bonds, kind of like a super safe, low-yield savings account. When people retire or become eligible for benefits, they start receiving payments from these trust funds. Think of it like a giant intergenerational potluck, except instead of everyone bringing their signature casserole, we're all chipping in for retirement. The problem is, the ingredients for this metaphorical casserole are getting a bit pricey. People are living longer, which is fantastic news for anyone who enjoys breathing, but it does mean they're collecting benefits for a longer period. On top of that, the ratio of workers to retirees is shrinking. Remember those baby boomers? The ones who made tie-dye and disco popular? Yeah, they're retiring in droves, and there are fewer workers paying into the system to support them. This is what economists like to call a demographic challenge, which is a polite way of saying we might need a bigger potluck table. Now, the good news is that Social Security isn't about to go bankrupt tomorrow. Remember that giant vault of money? As of 2021, it still holds trillions of dollars. However, projections show that if we don't make any changes, the program could face a shortfall in the coming decades. This doesn't mean the checks will stop coming altogether, but it could result in benefit reductions, which nobody wants. Imagine telling grandma her monthly bridge game budget just got slashed. Let's talk more about those baby boomers, shall we? They're a large generation, and their impact on Social Security is significant, like a flock of very demanding pigeons descending upon a park bench. But blaming them entirely for Social Security's challenges is a bit like blaming your dog for eating your homework when you left it within paw's reach. It's not entirely their fault. The truth is, there are other factors at play here, like income inequality. Wages for the average worker have not kept pace with inflation, but the cap on earnings subject to Social Security taxes has not kept up with the rise in high earners' salaries. In simpler terms, the very wealthy are contributing a smaller percentage of their overall income to Social Security than they used to, which puts a strain on the system. Imagine going to a potluck where the wealthiest guest brings a single bag of chips while everyone else brought enough to feed a small army. It throws off the balance, doesn't it? Now, I'm not saying we should start confiscating yachts and diamond-encrusted dog collars, although, let's be honest, it would make for a very entertaining news cycle. But addressing income inequality and ensuring everyone contributes their fair share is crucial to Social Security's long-term health. Okay, so we've established that Social Security is facing some challenges, but it's not headed for imminent collapse. So what can we do to make sure it stays healthy for generations to come? Well, the good news is that there are options. And no, none of them involve sacrificing interns to the Federal Reserve. One option is to increase the Social Security tax rate. I know, nobody likes paying more taxes, but even a small increase could make a significant difference over time. Another option is to raise the cap on earnings subject to Social Security taxes. Remember those high earners we talked about earlier? Raising the cap would ensure they contribute a bit more to the potluck, so to speak. We could also explore gradually raising the retirement age, but we have to be careful with this one. It wouldn't be fair to force people into labor camps until they're 90, especially those with physically demanding jobs. Maybe we could offer incentives for people who choose to work longer, like tax breaks or discounts on early bird specials. Ultimately, Securing Social Security's future requires a multi-pronged approach. It's like fixing a leaky roof. You wouldn't just slap a Band-Aid on it and hope for the best. You need a solid plan, the right tools, and maybe a slightly terrified intern holding the ladder steady. So, there you have it. Social Security is facing some real challenges, but it's not time to hit the panic button just yet. We've discussed the demographic shifts and economic factors putting a strain on the system, but we've also explored potential solutions. The future of Social Security depends on our willingness to engage in thoughtful, informed debate and demand action from our elected officials. Remember, this program isn't just about numbers on a balance sheet. It's about people's lives, their well-being, and their ability to retire with dignity. Stay informed, stay engaged, and let's work together to ensure that Social Security remains a safety net for generations to come.